Ferrari's president just sent a message so brutal, it might have ended Lewis Hamilton's role inside the team without saying a single word. Why is Formula One's most successful driver being left in silence, sidelined during race weekends, and now completely erased from Ferrari's official narrative? In this video, we uncover the full scandal behind Hamilton's Brazil collapse, the upgrades he never received, and the exact moment Ferrari's top leadership made it clear the team has moved on. Because when a driver like Hamilton gets ignored at this level, you're not watching a slump. You're watching a war quietly begin. The Formula One world stopped when Ferrari's president, John Elkann, took the stage last week. In just a few calm sentences, he laid out the team's vision for the future: continuity, cohesion, development. But the message wasn't in what he said. It was in what he left out. Because Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion brought in to lead Ferrari's new era, wasn't mentioned. Not once. Not by name. Not by reference. Nothing. For fans, it was a punch to the chest. This was supposed to be Hamilton's big arc, the comeback, the redemption, the legend in red. Instead, what we witnessed was the most powerful man in Ferrari quietly writing him out of the story. No praise. No update. No commitment. And the worst part? It came just days after one of Hamilton's toughest weekends of the year, Brazil. In Sao Paulo, his race was doomed before the lights even went out. The SF25 was running an outdated spec. No new floor. No upgraded suspension. Tire warm-up was off. Rear grip was missing. And by lap 1, Hamilton was already fighting to survive. Floor damage and aero loss made it impossible to recover. The decision to retire the car on lap 37 wasn't just tactical, it was symbolic. It was a weekend that never gave him a chance. And now we know why. Brazil wasn't an accident. It was part of a larger shift. Ferrari had already made a decision behind the scenes. Leclerc would be the development focus. Hamilton, instead of receiving the tools to compete, was placed on an older spec to stabilize the data. While one driver evolved, the other was frozen. This wasn't technical strategy. It was political restructuring. The silence from the garage that weekend suddenly makes sense. The lack of upgrades. The absence of reaction. The slow retreat of technical attention. And now, with Elkann's speech, the picture is complete. The Ferrari president just confirmed it without saying it. Hamilton is no longer the driver they're building around. He's not part of the blueprint. He's the control variable. But if anyone believes that silence will break Hamilton, they've forgotten who he is. Every time this sport has tried to push him aside, he's rewritten the narrative. Not with outrage. Not with excuses. With results. And if Ferrari thinks this chapter is closing, they might be about to learn that Hamilton never leaves the stage quietly. From the outside, Hamilton's Brazilian Grand Prix looked like a rare off weekend. But inside the telemetry, the truth told a different story. Every sensor, every tire reading, every aero figure pointed in the same direction. This car wasn't set up to compete. It was set up to hold the line, to preserve data, not performance. And Hamilton was the one tasked with driving it. His problems started before qualifying. During Friday's FP2, Hamilton's rear tire surface temperatures failed to reach Ferrari's target windows. In Formula One, for degrees of variation might sound small, but in Sao Paulo's high-load, low-grip corners, it's catastrophic. Cold rears mean poor rotation, early sliding, and zero confidence on entry. While Leclerc's upgraded suspension package stabilized his platform, Hamilton had to correct on almost every turn. Then came the floor damage, the final nail. On lap 1 of the race, a minor hit to the left rear floor area caused a loss of 30 aerodynamic points. That sounds abstract. But for a modern F1 car, it's the difference between downforce and disaster. With that much underbody load gone, the car becomes unpredictable. Braking points shift. Balance disappears. And all your strategy goes out the window. Ferrari knew it. Hamilton's team saw it in real time. But instead of responding, they stood still. No offset strategy. No in-race setup tweaks. No attempt to recover track position. It was a managed decline. By lap 37, the call came to retire the car. Officially, to protect the engine. Unofficially, because the race had already been lost long before the lights went out. And here's what seals it: Lewis was on an older spec floor and rear geometry. While Leclerc had the newest aero platform, Hamilton was sent out on a legacy build. His car wasn't just unbalanced. It was unequal. And Ferrari never told the public. They never clarified the spec split. They just let the result speak for itself, knowing full well the numbers would bury the truth in silence. But the numbers don't lie. Hamilton wasn't outperformed. He was out-equipped. And in Formula One, especially for a legend like Lewis, that's not a tactical error, that's a message. The real shift didn't happen in Brazil. It happened 2 races earlier, quietly, during an internal strategy session at Maranello. After a string of disappointing results, Ferrari's technical board launched what they called development consolidation. The aim: reduce variability, focus resources, and align all feedback around a single car. That car? Charles Leclerc's. On paper, it sounded efficient. In practice, it meant Hamilton's role was changed not by announcement, but by omission. The upgrade stopped. The simulation time narrowed. His side of the garage was no longer pushing the envelope. It was holding the baseline. Ferrari called it stabilizing the data. But what it really meant was that Hamilton was no longer driving to win. He was driving to measure. Leclerc received the new floor with extended Venturi channels and a revised rear suspension geometry designed to improve mechanical grip in medium-speed corners. Hamilton? Same spec as Austin. No diffuser tweak. No suspension update. No access to the newest components. Engineers later confirmed, his car was being used to validate consistency, not unlock lap time. He was now the control variable in Ferrari's test environment. Inside the team, this was described as dual-stream development. But make no mistake, only one stream was headed toward performance. Hamilton's feedback was still valued, still precise, still world-class. But it wasn't being applied. Not to his car. Not to his strategy. He was collecting data for a project he wasn't leading. Even his run programs were altered. Leclerc was granted high-variance test runs, multiple compound simulations, long runs with aero rake setups, full-scale deployment modes. Hamilton ran fixed-length stints with identical fuel loads. It wasn't subtle. It was structured. And it told everyone in that garage exactly who Ferrari was backing for the remainder of the season. This wasn't a demotion in title. It was a repositioning in silence. And in a team as politically sharp as Ferrari, silence is never neutral. Hamilton didn't lose ground because he lost his edge. He lost ground because he was repositioned behind it by a team that made a choice. And made sure no one outside knew until it was already done. 3 days after Brazil, Ferrari's president John Elkann took the stage at a leadership forum in Milan. It was polished. Controlled. Not a Formula One press conference, but a corporate stage, the kind where narratives are shaped, not challenged. And there, in front of global media, Elkann delivered his message. Ferrari's future is about consistency, continuity, and a core built around long-term stability. He praised the team's alignment with its technical leaders. He praised the strong cohesion between the driver and engineering department. He praised commitment to growth. But in all of it, not once did he mention Lewis Hamilton. Not even indirectly. His name was absent. His role was unspoken. His presence erased. It was no accident. In Formula One, especially at Ferrari, public messaging is a weapon. Omitting a name isn't forgetfulness, it's political positioning. Elkann didn't need to say, "We've chosen Leclerc." He just needed to say everything around it. And by praising synergy, by emphasizing continuity, and by looking forward without referencing the most experienced driver in the garage, the statement became crystal clear: Ferrari is moving on without him. This wasn't just a press event. It was a power move. And it came at the exact moment when Hamilton's supporters were still reeling from Brazil, still asking why he was forced to retire early, why his car hadn't received upgrades, and why the team had gone silent during the race. Elkann answered without answering. And that kind of message is never walked back. But Lewis Hamilton didn't reply. He didn't criticize. He didn't speak. He returned to the simulator. Attended engineering briefings. Stayed focused. Because while Ferrari may have made their message public, Hamilton has always made his answer on track.